so excited about today's spotlight because I've been thinking a lot about where all of us, and when I say all of us, I'm talking about people who are in the Rise Above Noise community. Most of us are solopreneurs or very small business owners. Maybe we do a little bit of outsourcing. Most of us are in like service industries, or we're transformation creators. We're taking people from a place where there's some challenges, there's some struggles, and we're taking them to a place where some of their struggles and challenges have been addressed and they either cured or learning how to deal with them better. And I love to teach. I love to give you the what's and the whys and the how's it going to affect things and what's your conversion and why are you doing the things and let's look at your analytics. And I love to see how my clients, my community are showing up in the world. And that's basically sharing their energy, right? So how are we sharing our energy? How are we showing up for the people who need us? I just put a post up today on all my platforms, which is really marketing is just us showing up. And if we don't do that, then it's almost like we're not fulfilling our obligation because somebody needs us, right? Like somebody needs us to show up to do the work that we're here to do. So what does that have to do with energy? Following Heather and the work that she's doing in the Energy Lab, and we had a conversation and she told me about some of the interesting things. Now, energy experiment, and I would imagine you and I will have a conversation, setting intentions, using attraction, right? Like when I talk about the work I do, I say I'm doing attraction marketing, and that, right, is showing up as your energetic self, but also as your, hey, get shit done self. So I'm going to kind of leave it there with my point of the day, which is marketing is you showing up in your fullest expression of your energy. Oh, I'm glad to see Deborah's here. Hey, Deborah and Laura, right? They know we're speaking to the choir on this, our energy people. All right. So you guys maybe know Heather, maybe you don't. She is the unconventional intuitive. She's an intuitive guide, a teacher, and a speaker. And we're talking today about creating new possibilities by experimenting with your energy. Now, I asked Heather what her superpower is, and I love this, and it's so true. She says that she teaches people how to trust themselves. Tell me more about that, Heather, before we get into, and maybe this will lead right into talking about your energy experiment. Tell me about how you teach people to trust themselves.
One of my favorite things about my work is that, I'm sharing these intuitive messages. I'm bringing in information from all different kinds of places, and I will say something to my clients. It's inevitable, and they will say, "Oh, I've been thinking that. Oh, that's been on my mind." And it's these repeated examples that sort of nudge them closer and closer to being open to hearing their intuition, open to trusting it, putting more value on it. And as they nudge closer to that trust within themselves deepens so much, so that they forget that they have believed that they needed facts and information to justify. And they start to look for that feeling, that knowing, as information, as, valued, trustable guidance. And then they can justify. We live in a world where facts and reason matter, but facts and reason can be external, and that internal sense of trust in what you know is huge, huge.
So tell me a little bit more about that, right? It sounds great.
Mhm.
And but, right? So how, right? So I'm like, yeah, but like, how do you overcome that with your clients who are like, I'm not sure.
Mhm. Well, that's why I think that Spirit really gave me this concept of the energy experiments, because what you need is proof. What you need is evidence. And experimenting in this way gives you that evidence. It gives you repeated exposure. Oh, wait, haha, there's some information for me. That confirms my hypothesis. So it's not like you have to jump into the deep end. You're gradually learning, you're gradually building that trust.
Awesome. So tell me more about the energy experiment and what you're doing in your energy lab and how it relates to how you work with your clients.
Um, okay, so the Energy Lab is right now this Facebook group where I'm running these energy experiments, and it's also a series of talks and trainings that I bring, to parties and businesses and all kinds of places. Um, and it evolved because in my work with my clients, the messages were often very much about their gifts, very much about, oh, when you are doing this and feeling this and thinking this, notice how things worked out. And then we drop to this place that feels hard, and the thoughts and the energy is hard, and I can't do it, and I don't know how, and I'm not good enough. And so uh, Spirit is constantly trying to redirect people into a different way of being energetically, so that it goes from the question of, is this going to work out? Will I get the thing? To now you can be in this energy of possibilities where you flow. And now it takes away the fear. Now it takes away not takes away the fear, but you have a different relationship with that fear. Now you have trust and you have curiosity and you're open to what's going to happen instead of contracted and fearful. So this was always the conversation. And and when you're learning something new, having a formula, having a tool is really helpful. And so that's how this idea of the experiments really came to be, because this way it can be a little bit more formalized. It can be, I can follow this formula, I can do this thing, use this tool to experiment. And really the tool is loose. It's so simple, and so make it your own, but it's a framework, which is really, really helpful when you're learning a new way of being. And so that's kind of how the energy experiments came to be. And also I love to learn. So I'm always learning and reading and thinking new things. And so in the group, which I invite everybody to join and participate in the experiments and tell us your results, we did one experiment, for example, which was about smoke signals. And if smoke signals were this way that people actually communicated, and the smoke was the signal to say, hey, tune in to me, tune in over here, listen to what's happening over here. The message wasn't in the smoke, like a dot dot dash kind of, here's the message. No, it was a sign. Hey, tune in, listen up. We've got some information for you. And so whoever was receiving the smoke signal would sit down, get quiet, tune in, and get the information. And so we said, hey, if that's possible, let's try sending a smoke signal to someone we haven't talked to in a while and see what happens. And that was one of our experiments. We sat down and got quiet and imagined we were sending out smoke. And the message was, hey, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know how you're doing. And then people report their results, and it's so fun.
What kind of results did you have for that one?
Well, immediately, my friend that I was thinking of shared the experiment on Facebook. And I said, oh, that's interesting. There's some evidence that we made contact. And then she reached out to me and said, oh, that was so cool. I really love what you're doing. And this is a great friend of mine from high school, but one of those people that you go 5-10 years without talking to. And so so through the experiment itself, she reached out to me and connected with me. I had another woman who did it, and she ended up like thinking of this person and kind of started tracking her down. And then that person reached out to her and said, hey, I've been thinking of you. And so it was like that friend had been sending out smoke signals, and she had heard it, and then she responded. And so you find that a lot, that what you're experimenting with or what you're thinking, it's a chicken or an egg. Did I do this, or is this in response to what you did? I can't really tell for sure, but it's happening.
Amazing. All right. I have so many questions. And I'll ask you some, but then if there's something I missed that you wanted to talk about, you'll let me know. But here's a question I have for you, because we're in the Rise Above Noise group and it's entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. Let's talk about what you're talking about and how that might align with some of the work that we're doing. I'm going to halt there for a second and just say, here's something I've been the past month, I've been writing down, holding a lot of interviews with people, talking to so many people, doing a lot of research, and which is what I do, right? I procrastinate, so I do research. I don't know if anybody else does that. Raise your hand if you're also I forget what Regina calls it, working or something like that. Anyway, but we're doing that, right? We're procrastinating, but we're on information overload. But oh, wait, maybe one more thing. I'll have to research something else. We're scattered. We're unsure of what to do next. We're not showing up as ourselves because, right, we're like, oh, facts, figures, we should be, but we're not showing up as ourselves. So knowing that is where I have learned many of the solopreneurs, entrepreneurs in my community feel. Is there a way that we can use your tool, your template, your guidance to help us get out of that muck?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a big part of the energy experiments, the magic of doing this, because buried within what you just said is judgment. I shouldn't be this way. I shouldn't be doing this. I should be more like such and such. I should know this thing. And in truth, research matters. In truth, knowing a lot about what you're working with matters. And maybe you're also curious, who knows, and you can reach this point. I see it sort of like a rubber band where you stretch way too far and it gets uncomfortable, and then you feel like thinned out. I don't even know what I think anymore. I don't even have my opinion anymore. And then it snaps back and you're sort of paralyzed. And so the energy experiments can really help in this way, because you can start to ask yourself questions. You can start to create an experiment. If it was possible that I had enough information now, what would I do? How could I respond? And I've given you a link to a printable, like a downloadable, and it has evidence. So what you do is you start watching for evidence, and evidence might be you just feel better. Just asking the question can be an experiment. Well, what if I had the information that I needed? You kind of take a deep breath, you drop into your heart. Okay. Maybe it's just an energy shift. Maybe you just feel a little bit different. Maybe some message comes through of like, then I would go for a walk because I've been sitting here researching for 3 days straight, and it takes you out of that judgment and more into curiosity, more into that open mind of possibilities. So it's almost like you took a nap and slept on it and came back fresh because you stopped playing that tape that says, I shouldn't be doing this. It has to work this way. I don't have enough information. I'm not good enough. You press pause on that tape and you say, well, what else could be possible? And it's really, really powerful. And the more you do it, the more you train your brain and your body to like jump on this opportunity and say, oh, we've been waiting for you to ask. Okay, here we go. And what also happens when you open up when you stop knowing, okay, I need to finish this book, I need to watch this movie, I need to talk to this person, you open up and it's like you're inviting help. So someone will call you. You will find just the right thing as you're going through your day. You will see a billboard that has the answer you needed. That's what starts to happen because you open up to new possibilities.
I want to just pause right there. That was so good. Open up to possibilities with the knowing. I love that. That was beautiful. Thank you. Is there anything else we should know? Like I was so fulfilled by that answer just now, Heather. That was amazing. That was like, oh, right. I'm just going to play it over and over and over again for myself. Anybody else who's listening to this, you know what? I'm actually going to take the clip of this and put this up there. That was so good. So good. Tell me what else we need to know.
So I want to tell you and sort of, I mean, this is part of why I made the group, because I want to make it a place where you have support. You know, sometimes you see that bumper sticker and it's a game changer for you. And having support of people who say, yeah, that's real, that's a sign, that matters, helps you watch for more of that, because that help is available to us all the time. So having a group of people who you can share those things with, who affirm that has value, that has meaning, it's really, really important. I encourage people to join the group, or feel out your community. If you don't know if anybody's receptive, feel them out and find some people who will cheerlead for you and value those things, because the more you're watching for them, the more you're going to find them. There is this partnership that's happening, and watching for the little things is how you begin to really understand and learn how to participate in that partnership. So I'd like for people to really experiment with that and give themselves the gift of a community where people value that also and see, oh, that's real.
Right. And to look for the signs. Recently, it's springtime. I'm very, I'm very hands in the dirt garden kind of person. Got my bees and I'm like, I really love this. Like, how can I bring more of this into my life and step away from the computer a little bit more? And having sat on that intention for a little while, I don't know if this is exactly right, but I guess it's all kind of, again, setting intentions and putting the energy out there. I'm in the past few weeks have been ready to step in different ways to supporting a local farmer, supporting a local land trust, in ways that will support them, but also and use my gifts to be able to, right, like get in the dirt and learn about the plants, learn about Native Americans. Yeah, so
that's exactly it. You were asking that question, and these answers started to arrive.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's
I'm
so
going to take that to heart, just to trust and to know, what would it be like if we don't have to do any more research? What would that be like? How would we show up? And that's a lot of what the work that I do with my clients is. Like, you got 55 tabs open. Just open your one tab, like just your website or your, right? And let's look at what you've already got, so that you're not wasting your energy feeling like you're not, like that imposter syndrome, or that you're not good, you don't have enough yet. You do. So many people that I know are coaches or consultants, and oh my gosh, like changing their landing page again, or changing their logos again, or their colors again, when really,
not the answer.
Maybe some people need to, right? Like in the early stages, you kind of got to settle on the right thing, but then it's just show up for the people who need you.
Yeah. So, so a really powerful way to experiment with energy. And I have my little notes here, which are the same as what you're going to share in the group for people. So you'll have the instructions if you want to start running experiments yourself. And we can run one around marketing and messaging. But a really big one that you can use in your business, in your marketing, and in your life is holding the energy that you want for the situation. So for example, I'm going to start with a personal example and then we'll take it into business. So for me personally, I had a really challenging relationship with my son when he was in high school. He was really struggling. He was having a really hard time. And it felt like every time I tried to have a conversation with him, support him, figure out what's going on, it just went terrible. It went terrible. I ended up yelling or crying or somehow, some way, it did not produce the result that I was hoping for. And he did not feel loved and supported. It just was not working. And so I just took a step back and I said, what is it that I really want to feel? And what is it that I want him to feel? And the truth was, I wanted to feel connected to him. I wanted to feel that, he was feeling loved by me. So that's what I sat with every day. When I would start to get stressed about him, I would say, okay, all of that may be true. And here's what I'm going to do. And I would just sit for, sometimes a minute, sometimes 10, 15 minutes, and just fill myself up with love for him. And that was it. And when I would do that, he would come home and it would be a tiny bit different. He might pause for a minute and say, how was your day, Mom? He started to hug me. This from a kid who didn't like touch, right? Who didn't want physical closeness. Started to say, I love you, Mom. So my energy changed the relationship, right? It's very powerful. So you take it to your business. If you are writing emails and looking at your website and your landing pages from this place of, I'm not good enough, I got to say the thing that they need to hear, but I don't know who they are and I don't know what it needs to be. So, and it's this place of sort of like stressed out, panicky, shallow breathing. I just got to get this right. That's the energy of your landing page. That's the energy that you are holding in your business. When people think of you, they're connecting with you. When people think of your business, they're feeling you. They're not necessarily aware of it, but that's what's happening. And so you can do this, have the same landing page, the same website. You can redesign your logo, but if you redesign it, holding the energy that you want your business to be, it is completely different. You sit for a few minutes and get that. I'm going to send an email out. I'm going to write that email. What is it that I want people to feel when they get this email? Hold that. That changes things.
That's so good. Something I often say is writing love letters. You have to write love letters to your community, right? What do you need? What do they need? And how can you support them?
Yeah.
So good. I shared the links to your Facebook group and to your, which I'm looking at right now, beautiful worksheets here too. You guys download those. These are beautiful. Talk about branding. I love your new branding, Heather. Gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
It's so pretty. So connect with Heather in her group, connect with Heather on LinkedIn or Facebook, download her amazing worksheet, join a workbook, join her group. I already said that. And let's see, I would love to see if you're listening to this episode of the Rise Above Noise Spotlight, and you're in, if you're a hell yeah, and you're going to give this a go, share it in the Rise Above Noise group or email me or email Heather. And let's see if we can't shift the energy. I often say, right, like some of the things I say is today more than ever, our world needs you, needs people like Heather, needs people like you if you're listening, because you're in my community. We need transformation creators to show up. I already told you showing up is marketing, to show up, to make the change in the world that we're here to make today more than ever. I'll just keep saying that. And if we quiet the noise, if we go deep inside, like Heather's talking about, and find what it is, what energy what we want to bring there, what energy we want to attract, then we can do the simple things. Then we can get out of that chaos, get out of that information overload, and just know that we can show up truly as ourselves because we know enough. This has been such a good conversation.
Oh, it's
Thank
always
you.
amazing to see you, Susan.
Same. Is there anything else you'd want to say before we kind of hang up here? Is there any, I'm going to check to see if there's any questions in the Facebook group.
Well, if there's time, I'd like to just kind of demo an energy experiment around the whole marketing, mayhem that happens when we talk about sharing our message. And what you just said is so beautiful, and it is such an experiment. Like, if we show up, we can change the world. Isn't that a beautiful experiment? And there's a lot of evidence that that's true. That transcendental meditation study that's been replicated time and time again of it's I believe less than 1% of the population drops into their hearts, drops into that meditative space at the same time, with the same intention of love and peace. Crime rates drop, traffic accidents drop, violent, all kinds of things, fires, those incidents all drop. Like, our energy has a huge impact. It ripples out beyond us. So yeah, let's all experiment with sending our energy out into the universe and see what transforms. But let's just really quickly run through, if you were going to run an experiment around marketing. Okay. So let's say, where is an email, sending out emails someplace where people get stuck? Where do you find people get stuck?
Yes, they do. They feel, this is what they say. They feel that, I see it. Even on Zoom, I can see it. I say, oh, and we talk about, reaching people. Email marketing still has the highest return on investment. Everybody checks their emails. And this is what people do. Ugh. Like, I can see it. Ugh. I don't like sending email. I don't want to bother people. And that's when I'm like, okay, but people need to hear from you. If not you, who?
Right.
So yeah, that's a good place to go.
All right, let's work with that one. Okay, so step one in the experiment process is describe the situation. So when I think about sending an email, it makes me want to vomit because I feel like I'm bothering people. I think they don't want to hear from me. I should have something really special to say and make it worth their while to open the email. These are all the thoughts and the feelings that are behind it, right? Step two, why is this happening? Why do you want to vomit every time you think about emailing your people who've signed up to get your emails? Well, it usually starts with I can't, I haven't, I don't, they're not, all those kinds of things. But let's say that this is happening because I don't feel like I have something to say that they want to hear. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like my message matters to them. So craft your hypothesis is step three. So because of my belief that my message doesn't matter to them, what's happening? I'm not sending emails. Because I don't have confidence in my message, I'm not sending the emails and people aren't hearing from me. I'm not growing my business. So a lot of times what happens by the time you finish step three is you've already got your shift. Your energy has already shifted. You've already got ideas and ahas, and it's come to you already. So usually, a lot of times you can stop after step three, but keep going. Step four is design your experiment. If it's true that my belief that my message doesn't matter is causing me to not send the emails, then a change in that belief might create a different response. So what if I believed that my message mattered? So there's your experiment. I'm gonna tell myself, I'm gonna get myself in the energy of believing my message matters. So how you do that is your business. Maybe it's a go for a walk. Maybe it's to put on some music and dance around. Maybe, who knows how you get yourself in that place. You stand like that person, you envision things, whatever it is that really gets you feeling it, right? You hold that energy and then see what happens. Does it feel different? Do you feel different about writing an email now? Do you have an idea for writing an email? You know, notice what feels different. And it may be something completely unexpected. Your partner might come home from work and talk to you differently. You know, we don't know where these ripples land, right? So watch for what's different. And then record your findings, share it with a friend, put it in my Facebook group, record those results because they can be subtle. It can be easy to ignore, and your brain tries to convince you that you are right. Your message doesn't matter. It tries to, you know, keep running the same tapes. So you're switching tapes. So you gotta gather that evidence, document, remind yourself. And there you go. You ran an experiment.
Love that. I'm going to take this clip and send it to all of my clients, right? Like just knowing enough and knowing that and you know what, what you said at the beginning, right? People signed up to be on your email list. They wanted to hear from you. And if they didn't, they would unsubscribe. No judgment there either, right? So,
Yep.
right. Just show up, serve them, be generous. Not every email, very few emails should be sales emails. They should be, you know, in my opinion, it's generosity, it's generous marketing, it's attraction marketing, it's giving, 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 so that people get to realize, oh, this person's the one that's speaking to my soul. This person's the one that's speaking to my challenges. This person understands me, gets me, or not.
Yeah.
That's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you guys, watch this one over and over again. So, so good. Head over to the Energy Lab. So you get to do this kind of stuff all of the time. Heather, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Susan. It was awesome to talk with you today.